Camilla is not just losing allies, she's losing the people who built her, and one of these 10 gave her a title but forgot the paper. The network has been collapsing for years. Now it is accelerating. The PR architect who made her acceptable left in 2002. The fixer who knew everything resigned in disgrace. Her longest-serving aide is gone after 25 years. The Archbishop who blessed her marriage resigned in disgrace. Diana's son now controls the Duchy, the budget, and the staff. He cut off Camilla's oldest friend with a single ultimatum. Charles said nothing. Diana spent years watching her support system disappear. Camilla is learning what isolation feels like. Let's start with the man who made her acceptable to Britain. Number 1, Mark Bolland. In 1996, Camilla was the most hated woman in Britain. Her approval rating sat at 20%. The tabloids called her a homewrecker every single day. She could not appear in public without protests. Charles could not mention her name without triggering a national argument about betrayal. Diana had just given her Panorama interview to 23 million viewers. The whole country watched her say, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Everyone knew exactly who the third person was. Camilla was a pariah with no path forward and no allies willing to defend her in public. Then Mark Bolland arrived. Bolland came from the Press Complaints Commission, where he had spent years managing relationships between the press and powerful people. He understood how tabloid editors thought. He knew which stories they would run and which they would kill. Charles hired him as deputy private secretary with one job: make Camilla acceptable to a nation that despised her. He designed what insiders called Operation PB. The P stood for Parker Bowles. The strategy was precise: slow exposure over months and years, controlled stories placed with friendly journalists, carefully staged photographs that humanized her. He leaked just enough to soften her image without overwhelming the public with too much change too fast. In January 1999, Bolland orchestrated his masterpiece. He called it Operation Ritz. Camilla and Charles left a party at the Ritz Hotel together for the first time in front of photographers who had been tipped off in advance. The picture ran everywhere. Nobody rioted. The public had been prepared. Bolland had done his job perfectly. By the time he finished, Camilla's approval had climbed from 20% to 75%. PR Week named him Professional of the Year in 2001. Then he left. Bolland departed in February 2002 and never came back. He started his own communications firm called Mark Bolland and Associates. He married his partner Guy Black in 2006. He moved on with his life completely. The man who made Camilla acceptable to Britain has had nothing to do with her for over 2 decades. The architect walked away and never looked back. Number 2, Stephen Lamport. Bolland did not work alone on Camilla's rehabilitation. Stephen Lamport was Prince Charles's private secretary during the same period. The 2 men ran the rehabilitation campaign together as a coordinated team. Lamport handled the internal palace politics, while Bolland handled the press. They coordinated every move: the timing of public appearances, the selection of which journalists got access to Charles and Camilla, the framing of stories about Camilla's charity work to make her seem caring and warm. When Michael Pete replaced Lamport as private secretary in 2002, Bolland later said he felt he should have left at the same time. The partnership was breaking apart. He stayed briefly as a consultant, then departed. Lamport had already moved on. The team that rebuilt Camilla's image dissolved completely within months. Neither man ever returned to her service. Neither has had any formal role in her life since. Diana had watched her own support system stripped away during her marriage. Her staff questioned about her mental state. Her allies isolated one by one. Her phone calls monitored. She knew what it felt like when the people who help build your public image walk away and never look back. Number 3, Mark Leishman. For 14 years, Mark Leishman managed Camilla's day-to-day life as one of her most trusted aides. He joined Clarence House in 2003 as an assistant private secretary handling Charles's interests in education, health, and Scotland. By 2009, he had been promoted to private secretary for both Charles and Camilla. He was running their entire operation. His grandfather was Lord Wraith, the founder of the BBC. Leishman himself had worked as a BBC news presenter before joining the palace. He understood media better than almost anyone. He understood timing. He understood how to manage the relationship between royals and the press that had destroyed Diana. In August 2017, he resigned. A spokesperson said he wanted to explore new opportunities, but he was the fourth key royal aide to resign within just a few weeks. Sir Christopher Geit, the Queen's private secretary for 10 years, had just departed. Rebecca Priestley, Kate's private secretary, had announced her exit after a decade. The palace was hemorrhaging senior staff at an alarming rate. Leishman left after 14 years and never came back. Nobody has fully explained why so many senior aides departed at the same time, and this was just the beginning. The allies Camilla lost in the 2000s and 2010 are nothing compared to what happened after Elizabeth died. The departures accelerated, the disgraces multiplied, and the one person who protected Camilla above all others made a mistake that left her completely exposed. Number 4. Michael Fawcett. If Mark Bolland was the architect, Michael Fawcett was the fixer who made everything work behind the scenes. Fawcett served Charles for 40 years. He started as a footman to the Queen in 1981 and became Charles's most trusted personal aide. He knew everything about how the household operated. He organized everything from travel arrangements to dinner parties. Palace insiders joked that Charles could not dress himself without Fawcett's help. The joke was not entirely a joke. He also knew where the bodies were buried. Every secret, every arrangement, every private detail of how Charles and Camilla's world actually functioned. In 2003, Fawcett resigned over allegations he had accepted gifts from suppliers and sold unwanted royal presents for profit. Charles immediately rehired him as a consultant. Fawcett was too valuable to lose. He knew too much. By 2018, Fawcett was running the Prince's Foundation, Charles's charity organization. He had more power than ever. Then came the honors scandal. In September 2021, the Sunday Times reported that Fawcett had coordinated with fixers who promised Saudi businessman Mahfouz Murray Mubarak bin Mahfouz a knighthood and British citizenship in exchange for donations to Charles's charities. Emails showed Fawcett writing he was willing and happy to make the arrangements happen. Fawcett resigned immediately. A police investigation followed. Scotland Yard examined whether laws had been broken. The Metropolitan Police closed its investigation in 2023 without charges, but the damage was done. The man who knew everything about Charles and Camilla's operation for 4 decades had left in disgrace. He has never returned. Number 5. Amanda McManus. Amanda McManus started working for Camilla in September 1997, just weeks after Diana's death. She was there from the very beginning of Camilla's transformation from the most hated woman in Britain to royal consort. The Daily Telegraph called her a de facto lady-in-waiting. She organized Camilla's diary every day. She accompanied her on official duties around the world. She handled all correspondence. For 25 years, McManus was one of the most constant presences in Camilla's professional life. She knew Camilla better than almost anyone outside the family. She was also involved in one of the most damaging leaks of Camilla's early career. In 1998, Camilla met Prince William for the first time. The details were supposed to stay private. Instead, they ended up in the Sun. McManus had told her husband about the meeting. He told a former colleague. The colleague told the newspaper. McManus resigned immediately. She issued a public apology expressing profound regret for failing those who demand loyalty and trust, particularly my remarkable employer, Mrs. Parker Bowles. Camilla rehired her anyway. Loyalty mattered more than the mistake. But in his memoir, Spare, Prince Harry claimed the leak came from Camilla herself. He wrote the articles contained pinpoint accurate details that could only have been leaked by the one other person present. Harry was pointing the finger at his stepmother. McManus finally left Camilla's service in 2022 after 25 years. She now sits on the board of the Queen's Reading Room, but she no longer manages Camilla's daily life. The longest-serving aide is gone. Number 6. Joy Cam. When Camilla married Charles in April 2005, she needed to build an official palace office for the first time in her life. Joy Cam was one of the first people she hired. Cam had worked as a nursing sister at St. Bartholomew's Hospital in London. She was married to Professor John Cam, a professor of cardiology at St. George's Hospital. She had been Camilla's personal secretary for 5 years before the wedding. When Clarence House announced Camilla's new staff, Cam was named one of 3 assistant private secretaries alongside Amanda McManus and Katie Golding. A palace source told the Daily Mail that Cam and McManus were 2 for the price of 1. They arranged all of Camilla's engagements. They accompanied her on official duties. They collected bouquets of flowers at events. "No one stands on ceremony in her office," the source said. "Everyone mucks in." Cam has since moved on to other things. The early team that built Camilla's royal presence from scratch has scattered completely. Some retired, some left for other opportunities. The original core is gone. Number 7. Archbishop Justin Welby. On April 9, 2005, Archbishop Rowan Williams refused to perform a full Church of England wedding for Charles and Camilla. Both were divorcees with former spouses still living. The church had rules about such things. The solution was a compromise. Charles and Camilla married at Windsor Guildhall in a civil ceremony. Immediately afterward, they went to St. George's Chapel for a service of prayer and dedication. Archbishop Williams presided over that service, but did not technically marry them. Justin Welby became Archbishop of Canterbury in 2013. He performed the coronation at Westminster Abbey on May 6, 2023. He placed the crown on Charles's head with his own hands. He blessed Camilla as queen consort in front of the world. Then he fell. On November 12, 2024, an independent review called the Macon Report found Welby had failed to report serious allegations of physical and sexual abuse by church volunteer John Smith. Smith had abused more than 100 boys and young men between the 1970s and 2018 when he died in South Africa. Welby had known about the allegations since 2013. He did nothing. He failed every victim. Welby resigned in disgrace. He is gone forever now. The Archbishop who crowned Camilla and blessed her as queen is finished. He will not be presiding over any more royal ceremonies. When history records who performed the religious rites for King Charles and Queen Camilla, it will note he later resigned over a child abuse cover-up. The man who blessed their union left his own legacy in ruins. Number 8, Sarah Ferguson. Sarah Ferguson and Camilla were old friends going back decades. Queen Camilla was close friends with Mum, Princess Eugenie once said, which is why we're so close now. They ran in the same social circles for years. They shared the experience of being outsiders who married into the royal family. They understood each other in ways most people could not. When Camilla became queen consort, Ferguson hoped that friendship would translate into support during difficult times. She expected Camilla might show quiet public support, even if it was nothing more than being seen alongside her once. A single photograph would have sent a message. It never came. On February 19, 2026, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the man formerly known as Prince Andrew, was arrested over his connections to Jeffrey Epstein. He was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The scandal that had haunted him for years finally caught up with him. The family faced its worst crisis since Diana's death. Ferguson found herself completely frozen out. A source told OK Magazine that Ferguson genuinely believed Camilla would offer some form of discreet backing to her. She thought the decades of shared history still carried real value and would translate into some measure of loyalty. Instead, she got complete silence. No support, no photographs, no phone calls, no acknowledgement of any kind, and this was not Camilla's choice. William had drawn a line. Anyone connected to Andrew was out completely. Ferguson was collateral damage in William's campaign to protect the monarchy. Camilla said nothing because Charles said nothing. Charles said nothing because William had set terms nobody dared cross. Diana's son had cut off Camilla's oldest friend, and Camilla could not do anything about it. Number 9. Clarence House staff. When Queen Elizabeth died on September 8, 2022, Charles became king immediately. He and Camilla began moving their operations from Clarence House to Buckingham Palace. The staff at Clarence House received letters that same day while still in mourning. "The change in role for our principals will also mean change for our household," the letter read. "Sadly, this means some roles may no longer be needed and there will be redundancies." The Guardian reported up to 20 personnel who worked directly with Charles and Camilla faced losing their jobs. The letters arrived while staff were still mourning the Queen. Some had worked at Clarence House for decades. PCS Union General Secretary Mark Serwatka called the timing cold and heartless. Staff were being told they might lose their jobs during a meeting that was supposed to thank them for their years of loyal service during the mourning period. The staff who ran Camilla's household were scattered in different directions. Some transferred to other royal residences. Some took redundancy packages. Some found work elsewhere. The team she had built over 2 decades dissolved almost overnight. Diana's staff had been dismissed too when she divorced Charles. Her private secretary, Patrick Jepson, resigned. Her press secretary, Jeff Crawford, departed. Her protection officers were reassigned. She spent her final 18 months with a skeleton staff. The patterns are hard to miss. Number 10. Queen Elizabeth II. This is the one Camilla can never recover from. For decades, Elizabeth kept Camilla at arm's length. She refused to attend the 2005 wedding. She would not be photographed next to Camilla at public events for years. The frostiness was obvious. Elizabeth had loved Diana. Then something shifted. On February 5, 2022, on the eve of her Platinum Jubilee celebrating 70 years on the throne, Elizabeth released a remarkable statement. She expressed her sincere wish that when Charles became king, Camilla would be known as Queen Consort. This was the moment Camilla had waited for since 1971. After 50 years, the Queen had finally blessed her. The title Diana held was being given to the woman who helped destroy her marriage. But Elizabeth made a critical mistake. She gave her wish. She did not give paper. Elizabeth died on September 8, 2022. Her wish was honored. Camilla became Queen Consort and later simply Queen. But Elizabeth never formally amended the letters, patent that govern royal titles. She never put her wish into law. She gave a verbal endorsement that died with her. Nothing was signed, nothing was formalized. Nothing binds William's hands. William now controls the Duchy of Cornwall and its assets worth over £1 billion. He controls the money that funds his father's lifestyle. When Charles dies, William will control everything. He will decide what title Camilla keeps. He will decide where she lives. He will decide what income she receives. Elizabeth gave Camilla the title Diana never got, but she did not give any legal protection to keep that title. She did not bind William's hands in any way. She did not secure Camilla's future beyond the reign of one cancer-stricken king who may not have much time left. The woman who made Camilla queen left her completely exposed to the son of the woman Camilla helped destroy. Diana watched her allies disappear one by one. Her staff dismissed, her friends frozen out, her support system dismantled until she had almost no one left. Camilla now knows exactly what that feels like. 10 allies permanently lost, the PR architect who made her acceptable, the private secretaries who ran her office, the fixer who knew everything, her longest-serving aide, the Archbishop who crowned her, her oldest friend cut off by William, her staff scattered, and the Queen who gave her a title without protection. They are not coming back. Diana waited years for justice she never lived to see. William remembers everything his mother told him, and he is not waiting anymore. For more on what is coming for Camilla, click right here for 20 things she will lose when King Charles dies.